Okay, so here's what I think. If I were a senior over the age of 65, I got my AARP offer. I didn't sign up, but
I got my first AARP offer like 5 years ago. Yeah, they start marketing to everybody. I think when you're born.
Yeah.
Starting your route to retirement.
Welcome to the Guided Retirement Show. I'm your host, Dean Barber. This week's show is with Taylor Garner. He is a Medicare expert, tailormademedicare.com. We're going to be talking about changes coming up for the 2023 Medicare year, so stick around and enjoy my conversation with Taylor Garner. Before we hop into today's episode, I want to remind our listeners and viewers that you can access the same financial planning tools we use for our own clients on your own time and all from the comfort of your own home. All you need to do is visit the link in the show notes and click the Start Planning button. From there, you can start building your retirement plan, no cost, no obligation. Taylor Garner with Garner Insurance Services. Welcome to the Guided Retirement Show. This is your third time on with us here on the Guided Retirement Show. Welcome. Glad to have you here.
Dean, thank you so much. I'm happy to be back.
Hey, we're talking about some of the changes that are happening with Medicare. And of course, people want to find out more. They can go to tailormademedicare.com.
Yes, they can.
And find out everything they need to know. So talk to me and the viewers and listeners about what's happening. What are the changes happening in 2023?
Well, we've got quite a few. I think the first change that a lot of people have noticed or will notice, we've got the cost of living increase for Social Security beneficiaries. That's going to jump 8.7%.
Huge.
Huge. We haven't had a COLA increase in over 8% in over 40 years. I think 1981 was the last year that it was over an 8% increase. So quick math for a lot of people at home is, for every $1,000 that you're bringing in off Social Security income, that's going to equal an additional $87 a month, which you and I both know that's needed right now. So huge COLA increase. That's the first one.
Yeah. You think about that. It wouldn't be uncommon for a married couple to be receiving combined Social Security benefits of $50,000. And so you're talking about another, what would that be, $4,350 per year?
Yes.
And with inflation running rampant like it is right now, that's going to be a big help for a lot of people.
Huge help. And what they've been used to, the COLA increases over the last 10 years have averaged anywhere from 0% up to maybe 3-4%. So really not big increases. This is going to help a lot of people and make a big difference.
And I think to put a little icing on that cake, there's good news on the Medicare Part B premium this year too. It's actually going down by $5 and some change.
Absolutely.
For the first time. I don't ever remember the Medicare Part B premium going down.
No. And so you've got this COLA increase that's substantial. And then your standard Part B premium in 2022 is $170.10 per month. And in 2023, that's going to drop to $164.90 per month. So we've got this COLA increase. Our Part B premiums are being reduced. We're just expanding that gap of savings.
So for the first time in a long time, people on Social Security will have a meaningful increase in what they're able to spend, they're able to live on.
That is exactly right. So it's good news for the people on Medicare.
Yeah, and it's interesting because inflation is here for the first time in 40 years as well. So, I'm not going to pretend that this 8.7% increase is the greatest thing ever. And if I were a politician, I would not take credit for it, because the reason that it's so high is because inflation is so high. And you and I both know, Taylor, that inflation has hurt a lot of people over the course of the last 18 months or so. As our food's gotten more expensive, our energy's more expensive, it just costs us more in general to live. And the Federal Reserve has had a really, really tough time on trying to get inflation under control. And it remains to be seen when that will actually happen. But I think we're going to be in an environment for quite some time here where interest rates are going to be higher, and they're going to have to remain high for a while to kind of bring down that inflation. But the good news is that for people that, even if they're not receiving Social Security yet, as long as you're age 62 or over, you're going to get a benefit from that. So if somebody's looking at their statement and it's saying, at 66 and 7 months or 67, it's going to be $2,000 a month. Well, that's wrong, because if they were 62 now, that's going to actually be $87 more per thousand. So another $174 more than the 2,000. So everybody's getting that increase that's over the age of 62.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's a move in the right direction. It's a lot better than what we're used to year after year, which are, if there's a COLA increase, a little 1 or 2% increase. And with, like you said, I mean, with the way that prices are skyrocketing and inflation's hitting us, it's necessary.
So what is this doing to the Medicare supplements, the add-on policies that people need to have to make sure that they're fully protected? Because Medicare doesn't take care of everything.
Correct. Medicare doesn't take care of everything. So you've got your health insurance options out there that work with Medicare. And to be quite honest with you, really not a whole lot has changed. You would think that, okay, if Medicare recipients, they've got more money to spend because of this COLA increase and the Part B premium reduction, you would think that, well, maybe the insurance companies are going to increase their rates and try and grab those extra dollars. We haven't seen that. We haven't seen, companies will have rate increases. They always do. But the rate increases that we've seen are nothing out of the norm. So I would feel comfortable saying that in the insurance market, things are staying very steady. And in fact, on some of the Part D prescription drug plan side, we're actually seeing a reduction in those monthly premiums. So
that's good.
Yeah, it's good all around.
It's good. So what's that mean for what's that mean for people that are of Medicare age, which is 65 or older? What do they need to be thinking about as we enter into 2023?
That's a great question. And I encourage people who are already on Medicare to review their plans. If they haven't had their plans reviewed in a while, now is a really good time to do that. Again, we keep going back to the fact that the cost of living, the cost of everything is increasing right now. And there are multiple opportunities within each household for people who are on Medicare to take a look at their current plans and their current coverage. And they may very well be able to stick with the exact same coverage and lower their monthly premiums by shopping around to different companies, which is what the service that we provide as a broker who works with all the major carriers, or change up their insurance a little bit, maybe try a different plan and again, reduce those monthly premiums.
So Taylor, here's where I think a lot of problems lie is Medicare's got this open enrollment period, right? Which is what dates?
Annual election period is October 15th through December 7th every year. And that's where people who have Part C Medicare Advantage plans or the standalone Part D prescription drug plans, they can elect to make a change to that plan for the next year.
But if they have a standalone Medicare supplement, that can be changed anytime.
That could be changed at any time based on a couple different factors. So the Medicare supplement plans, and you're absolutely right, but I can't say that people could change them at any time because based on the state that they live in or their current health conditions, they may not be able to change that plan and pick up another Medicare supplement plan. So it's kind of a case-by-case basis, but they have the opportunity to change those plans if they qualify, basically.
Okay, so here's what I think. If I were a senior over the age of 65, I got my AARP offer. I didn't sign up, but so
I got my first AARP offer like 5 years ago. Yeah, they start marketing to everybody. I think when you're born.
Yeah. So what I would do is I would start my Medicare planning early in the year because there's only a certain number of people like yourself who are qualified to be able to provide that advice during that open enrollment period when people can actually make a change. And so if they wait until the open enrollment period to start looking around and see what's out there, it's a nightmare for you and it's a nightmare for them because it's like, well, I talked to Taylor 2 weeks ago and he hasn't gotten back with me. Well, it's probably because you're seeing and talking to so many people during that time frame. So people should really be looking at this early in the year and understanding what other plans are available and make a plan to make the change if that's what should be done once the open enrollment period starts.
That's absolutely right. And one of the things that kind of ties the hands of the broker like myself is we don't have the insurance companies and Medicare itself, they haven't released the upcoming changes for the new year officially until those changes tend to land somewhere between late September and mid-October. So sometimes we're already into open enrollment and we're waiting on the official changes from Medicare. Now we know what the plan changes will be for next year. But so one of the best things that people can do is reach out early before open enrollment. We get a list of their prescription drugs, a list of their primary care physicians, specialists, kind of get a good idea of what their current medical routine is so that we have that on file. When the changes are made official, we can run that information through all the different carriers. We're already 90% done with the job. That does make it helpful.
Yeah. Well, and then you could even see what's there now. How big are these changes that these on the Medicare? How big are these changes on a yearly basis? Are there years when there aren't much changes, where you roll into that late September, early October timeframe, and you go, "Oh, it's still the same as it was last year," or are there generally changes?
There's changes every year, and the majority of the changes are going to take place within the prescription drug plans. Whether that drug plan is built into an Advantage plan or it's a standalone drug plan, prescription costs are going to change year to year. So that's a big thing that we need to look at for everybody, because if your cost of prescriptions, if you stick with the plan that you're currently on, and that means that the changes to that prescription drug plan are going to impact you negatively next year, you want to know about that ahead of time, get the chance to change that plan. But there are changes every year. So the changes that we're seeing this year in 2023 are great, big, positive changes on the financial side of things. On the insurance side of things, whether it's a Medicare supplement plan, Advantage plan, prescription drug plan, they've all stayed fairly even. No real big major changes there, except for, I will tell you this, and I don't know if you heard about it, but a lot of the different insulins that are available will be capped at $35 copays per month this year, which is huge. Experience with these clients, people who are on Medicare, they're taking a couple different insulins. Regardless of the prescription drug coverage they have, those insulin costs could be in the hundreds of dollars every single month.
But they're capped at a $35 copay. Is that only for people on Medicare, or does that go to other insurance plans as well?
Medicare.
So what else in 2023 do people need to be aware of?
People need to be aware of just the upcoming changes to their current plans. And honestly, even if it's, we're already into 2023, if somebody hasn't had their plan reviewed, they can still reach out. Depending on their situation, it may not be too late for them to make some changes if they need to make any changes.
Let's go to the IRMAA limits. So the IRMAA limits are the limits that can start to cause those Medicare premiums to be more expensive. And so, some of the things that Congress did in signing the Secure Act 2.0 is they pushed back the required minimum distribution age on IRAs to age 73 now. And so a lot of times people don't know that if they have incomes above a certain limit, that 170, now 165 or 166 or whatever it is, Medicare Part B premium, if they go $1 over that first threshold limit,
puts them in higher Part B premium
Part B premium. And a lot of people aren't really aware of that. And so they get kind of they have a good year in the stock market. They have some capital gains. They have like good dividend distributions, or, they took too much money out of an IRA that caused them to go over that limit. Now, all of a sudden, their Medicare premiums are higher.
And that's something. So I've got some materials that are available for download on my website at tailormademedicare.com. If people go to the Learning Center, they can download or view or download the PDFs that I put up there that show those Part B IRMAA limits. But you're absolutely right. You've got your standard Part B premium, and that's the 170.10 or the 164.90 for 2023. But if people are making a certain income, or it's reported that they did 2 years ago, they could potentially pay 3 to 4 times that per month for that Part B premium.
And you get the same coverage.
No difference in coverage. Yeah. Yeah. We call it the, you did really well penalty.
Tax the rich.
Congratulations for succeeding and, doing really good on your income. So we're going to go ahead and try and grab 5 times what everybody else is paying. But no, there's no difference in the coverage.
Well, and that goes the same with Social Security, right? I mean, you got a cap on how much you can get.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you paid in far more than somebody else did.
Yeah.
So people have always said, well, they're going to means test Social Security, they're going to means test Medicare. Well, they already are. They're just penalizing the people that have done better.
The best thing that people can do if they haven't joined Medicare yet, whether it's a year or 2 years before you turn 65, start to get familiar with how these things work, so that you can plan for the future. Because the last thing, it doesn't matter what your income is, you don't want to get slapped in the face with a premium that is 5 times higher than what you had expected.
Taylor, what about people that continue to work past the age of 65 who have employer-sponsored health insurance? Do they still need to sign up for Medicare when they turn 65?
That can be a little tricky. It just depends, because there's a couple different avenues or options that are available to them. So if you're working for an employer that has over 20 employees, then if that employer is going to allow you to continue working beyond the age of 65 and they're going to continue offering you health insurance, you do not need to enroll in Medicare at that time, because you have what's called credible coverage, which is group health insurance that is equal to or better than original Medicare. And it's no secret, there's every insurance plan out there is better than just original Medicare. It's what we teach people about. So a person in that field, they wouldn't need to necessarily enroll in Medicare at that time, but it doesn't mean it's not a good option, because what we take a look at is if you're an employee and you've got group health insurance, you're still paying every month for your health insurance.
Unless the employer pays for all of it.
Which is rare. But
right.
Yeah, if an employer is paying all of it, then right, you're not paying anything for it. But the majority of people, money's coming out of their paycheck or their salary, and that's going to cover, a portion of their health insurance costs. So what I like to do is I'll compare how much they're currently paying their employer for their health insurance and what do they get in return? What's their deductible? What's their maximum out-of-pocket cost? And then compare that side by side with what can you do on Medicare? If the employer coverage is going to treat you better financially and health insurance wise than what's available on Medicare, keep your employer coverage. You can join Medicare later on and pick up a plan whenever you want to. That's one of the avenues that somebody can go down. If you're working for an employer that's got under 20 employees, you're going to have to go ahead and enroll in Part B when you turn 65. And you want to make sure that you do that, because if you don't enroll in the different parts of Medicare that you're supposed to, when you're supposed to, you can get permanent late enrollment penalty fees attached to these monthly premiums that we're talking about. They'll never go away.
I don't know that everybody's aware of that.
Yeah. So Part B, permanent monthly, or you've got your Part B penalties, Part D penalties. You just want to make sure that you understand what your options are when you need to do things.
So the key is that if you're 65, turning 65 here in 2023, and you're with an employer that provides coverage and the employer has over 20 employees, you don't need to worry about enrolling. But if you're at a company that has under 20 employees, even if they offer health insurance, you still have to enroll in the Medicare Part B.
Correct.
And so when you do that, depending upon your earnings, you're going to either be paying that $164.90 or a higher number depending upon your earnings.
Yes.
So at that point in time, you'd really want to explore, because you're paying for it.
You want to lay all the options out on the table as far in advance as possible, so that you can, you don't want to get into a rush because you've got 30 days to decide what to do, but you're still working. So, you don't want to get into a rush. You want to be able to just relax and take a look at every single option that you have and make a good decision.
All right. Anything else that we need to cover for what's happening with Medicare supplements, any of those changes for 2023?
I think we've done a pretty good job on here. If people want to go to my website, tailormademedicare.com, they can check out the Learning Center, download some of the information that we put up there for them. And if anybody ever has any questions, they can always reach out to me.
Sounds good. And I'm sure they can reach out to you directly through the tailormademedicare.com, right?
Absolutely. They can email me, send a message through the website, or call the phone number.
Perfect. Taylor, thanks so much for being on the Guided Retirement Show.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me back. I appreciate it.
You bet. Thanks for joining us on the Guided Retirement Show. I'm Dean Barber with my special guest, Taylor Garner. We appreciate you joining us, and as you can all tell, it's important to stay on top of what's happening with Medicare and your health insurance and do that planning on an ongoing basis. Don't forget, we're offering you access to the same financial planning tools we use for our own clients. Just get out to the link in the show notes and click the Start Planning button and begin your retirement plan from the comfort of your own home.
Starting your route to retirement.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to leave a comment and share this episode with your friends.
Investment advisory services offered through Barber Financial Group and SEC registered investment advisor.